Today I feel called to talk about something that is very important, that seems to me has been overshadowed this month due to a myriad of reasons, or more so just a lack of care. Now, specifically, this is for my men, senior and younger. Ladies, you can stay for the video, but specifically to my guys, as is our month. It's June. It's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I feel like it's really been overshadowed by a myriad of reasons with everything that's going on in the world. But I want to take the time now to really talk about that. At the current time that I'm recording this video, it is June 20th. And I know that the month is almost over. But ever since it hit June 1st, it's just been weighing on me to want to talk about it. So let's do it. You know, man to man, we really don't have too many outlets. You know, it's kind of hard for us to really express our feelings or the things that we're really going through, right? You know, and in the times that we do, we get frowned upon, or, you know, that time where you end up being vulnerable for somebody or vulnerable to people, expressing your pain and the things that you're going through. A lot of the times they tend to end up throwing that in your face. As men, I feel like these are some of the burdens that, you know, sadly, that have just become normal. And these are things that we really just go through, and we don't have the space to talk about it. Or I would at least say we don't have the space within society, as I believe that, you know, within our friend groups, as we all generally share the same feelings and we share the same things, that we can talk about these things. You know, even when it comes to my homies, I know every single one of us, you know, everybody is going through something. I check in on my homie. You ever checked in on your homie? You know, you ask your homie, how you doing, bro? And he hit you with the, yeah, I'm all right. And it's like, you already know what that means. You already know, you know, deep down, he truly ain't all right, but, you know, he got the strength as a man to continue to take care of business, the thing that he needs to do. He may not want to talk about it, but you generally understand. You know, I feel like it needs to be more light shed upon and more of a inclusive environment, or more of an open environment for people to be able to talk about these things. You know, no longer do I want my friends to just be able to say that, you know, they are and they really deep down battling demons. As men, some of our loudest cries is in our silence. Some of our loudest cries is in our silence. I think that fostering a space, even if it's within your closest homeboys or whatnot, people that you genuinely trust, that you should be able to come to them and be able to actually vocalize these things, because it can weigh on us a lot. It weighs on us so much. Men's mental health is really something that's always been neglected, it seems, for ages. And although I feel like right now this is probably the height of awareness, you know, more people talking about it, we are probably the most emotionally intelligent group of men, or most communicative men that there are, right? But it still sometimes feels as if there's no place, and there's no place for it besides in your own mind. When it comes to mental health, we really feel as if we have no outlet, and we get trapped inside of our own mind, the place that I like to reference as the mental abyss. The reason I like to reference it as the mental abyss, as it's a place inside of your mind. It's a dark place, a dark time when you're dealing with all this weight of the world. You're dealing with the burden of performance. You're dealing with, you know, stress. You're dealing with people, society, everything, expectations, right? And it's just a dark space inside of your mind where you can't necessarily see the light, and you continue to spiral instead of looking for that path on the way out. That is the mental abyss. And I feel like a lot of men have been there. You know, a lot of men have found a way to fight back and get out of it. You know, I've been there myself, but a lot of men don't win that fight. Just some statistics that I found on the internet prior to recording this video. This is from the CDC and other sources. It's kind of really even painful to truly even think that it gets to this degree, you know, like 1 man every 11 minutes. 12.8 million have had a thought. 3.7 million have made a plan. 1.5 have attempted. Crazy. I take the time to make this video to maybe, you know, help change the narrative, or maybe I can be the one to help somebody, or help another man, or help another brother, whoever it is, anybody, family, man, girl. Although this is specifically for my guys, as it's, you know, our awareness month. You know, I make this video to, you know, maybe help somebody, or let them know that there is light on the other side. Let me be the example. You know, I'm telling you, I've been there. I've been in a dark place. I've been very sad. I've been in a dark place. And it's crazy because, you know, when it comes to even the thought of, you know, being sad or depressed or any of those things that's generally frowned upon as a man for you to be able to express, right? You know, I never even believed in it at some point. Truly, me just being ignorant, or me just being young, you know, I never believed that all of these things truly exist. I'm like, why don't you just be happy? Why don't you just get up? Like, it's just this simple, just be happy. Like, what is this? Oh, depression, sadness, oh, just anger, or no, like, it just didn't never make sense to me until it's, a certain point in time in my life where I got thrown in it. And, I talk about life. Life will catch you up and will put you within it until you can learn the lesson that is needed for you to get out of it. This is around the time where, I lost one of my family members. I was isolated by myself. I just got back from a deployment. I was locked in a room for 2 weeks. I was locked in a room for 2 weeks during COVID, couldn't leave. When I was finally able to leave, one of my family members had passed away, one of the closest people and one of my rocks. Rest in peace. I felt like I had no outlet. Most of all, I felt alone. I felt alone. Many of us feel alone. I know how it is. Many men feel like they're alone. But one of the big takeaways from my channel, one of the big things that I've been wanting to stress to people is that you're not alone. You're not the only one in these feelings. You're not the only one who are having these thoughts. You're not the only one who's going through these battles, these silent battles. Man, it's not even a battle, it's a war. It's a war, because it's not like once you win one time, it just goes away and it never comes back. It comes. The storm comes. It always comes back. Storm comes. It teaches you a lesson. It passes just for another storm 2 times harder to come and hit. And sometimes you got to be prepared for it. But I want to let you know that you're not alone, bro. You're not alone. You ain't the only one. I'm here for you. Hopefully God has blessed you with some outstanding men. And be able to talk about it, as a lot of the times we like to be quiet, but sometimes if you just sprinkle that into conversation, or sometimes we just never really feel like we can have the conversation about it. You're not alone, bro. And I really just although you may be feeling that feeling of loneliness, whatever it is that you're dealing with during this mental health battle, this mental health crisis, right? I want to let you know that you're not alone, bro. As you always with yourself. You always got the opportunity to look yourself in the mirror and say, all right, we're going to take this on head first. We're going to fight. I might be sad, but we're going to get through it. We're going to feel it. We're going to talk about it, talk about it, express it. And I want to talk about that a little bit. Just talk about it, express it however you need to. We don't express because we don't believe that we are allowed the space to feel. And I'm here to let you know, man, like whatever you going through, you are allowed to feel that. You are allowed to express that in whatever way that you want it. You are allowed to feel that. You are allowed to express in whatever way that you want in order to keep your sanity. I know as men, a lot of the times when we're feeling an abundance of emotion, we have a natural proclivity for maybe even some form of violence, or maybe some form of aggression. Find an outlet. There is always an outlet. There is always a way to deal with it. Go to the beach, spend some time, work on self, take some time, spend some time with God. Sit down and have them uncomfortable conversations, as we've talked about. Sit down and when you feeling lost, always know that you're not alone, as you're always with self, and you got God with you, and he can get you out of it. To find how you can get yourself out of the abyss, or find how you and God can get you out of the abyss. Whatever that looks like for you to be able to keep control, keep stability of your sanity. It may be within friends, it may be within self, it may be within spending a little bit more time to God, it may be a culmination of those, But one of the things that I really want to stress is you allow yourself to feel it, and in feeling it, express it, let it out. Because when you're dealing with the mental torment and being inside of your own mental abyss, you ain't nothing but a time bomb, a ticking time bomb, from making one decision, lashing out, or anything from something that you cannot take back. And a lot of people have made that decision. A lot of people couldn't see clearly due to the darkness of their own mental. They couldn't see it. And instead of finding the light, a lot of people have left this planet not understanding that there is light at the end of a tunnel. There is better. There was a way. And that's all I'm trying to tell you. It's a cold and hard world for you to be able to express or maneuver around your emotions out here nowadays. I feel like there's no space for it. Especially as, a young man, when you still trying to figure everything out, you get shamed. Matter of fact, you get shamed at any age, but I feel as if it's a lot more burden, a lot more weight on you, or it's much harder for you to deal with it because you've never really dealt with these emotions before. A lot of times you don't know how to deal with it. You haven't had that time to really mature or allow your emotions to mature, your rational thinking. And a lot of times people end up making some very bad decisions. But it's a very harsh and cold world, and I'm speaking out of experience. I'm speaking out of, being around people who have been through the same thing. I'm speaking as, especially a young black male as myself. I'm speaking from somebody who's been around it. It's sad to say, but my time of service, there are some of my brothers in arms, or some people that I've served with that I no longer hear because they just couldn't deal with it. They couldn't find the light at the end of the tunnel, and sadly, they are no longer here. And I don't want anybody else to be a part of that. I want everybody to be able to find a light. So I'm just here, just maybe shedding a little bit of light on that and just saying there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's there. I know everybody overlooks us. You know, one of the harsh realities that I put in one of my videos is nobody really cares. You know, sadly, we got to be the ones that cares. You know, at least right here, this time I'm taking to talk to you. You know, I let you know I care, bro. I genuinely mean that. I don't know you, but man to man, I care about you. You know, I hope you win every silent battle that you're going through. I hope you find a way to express yourself. I hope you find God. I hope you can you know, provide some more awareness for your homeboys. I feel like I hope that you can find the space that I hope you can find and foster the space for you to be able to express, to let everything out. I hope you understand that you're not alone. So whoever this message hits, you know, this is for you. I don't want to see any more men, great men fall. I don't want to see any more men that have the potential to be great fall due to the darkness of the mental abyss that is mental health. You know, crazy to think, 50% of the population, 80% of the unaliving rate. Like that doesn't sound like a problem. That doesn't sound like a problem. It's crazy. It kind of angers me to think that, you know, like I said, like it feels so unaccepting of our mental health in society nowadays. But 50% of the population, 80% of the unaliving rate. But nobody continues to care. But I'm changing the narrative. See, me, I care. I care about you. I care about my brother's family, anybody, you know. I care about everybody's mental health, and I'm here to maybe provide a message that there is a way out. You know, like I just listed everything before. You know, I care. I'm here. Let's change the narrative. It's hard finding a way to let out that stress, that pain, that anger, that hurt, when a lot of the times you're taught not to. Or matter of fact, the times when you do express or you open your mouth and it falls on deaf ears, it's like talking to a brick wall. How many times have you ever dealt with that? You know, you try to talk to somebody, explain why you're feeling. After you went through your silence of processing your emotions, because a lot of times that's what we do. When we feel stuff, we shut up. As dudes, when we feel stuff, we shut up. That silent pain. When you finally took the time to dig through that pain and figure it out, and you were able to express that vulnerability to somebody, and it felt like you was talking to a brick wall, or they turned it against you. A lot of the times that's the catalyst for a lot of people. But you know, I hope that you can find an environment, even if it's talking to yourself, giving yourself a pep talk. You know, it's something that I started doing. You know, when I feel down, I get up, I talk out. It's like, hey, it's gonna be a great day, bro. You know, I may not feel the best, I may not be thinking the best, but it's gonna be a great day. We're gonna get up, we're gonna get after it every day. I won't fall victim. I won't allow myself to be limited by this spot. It's just a phase. You know, as hard as it is to really think about it, it's really just a phase, bro. It's really just a phase, and it's a storm. Once again, we back to the storm. It passes. It ain't gonna always be that. I feel like it's one of the most pivotal points inside of a young man's life, or any man's life, is when they have to come face to face with themselves and deal with them demons inside of their head, being mental health. Understand that you have to make the initiative, and you have to speak up. If you need some help, speak up. Find the right person. Tell somebody. There's people out there. There's places out there for you to get this out. There's places out there for you to just go and scream and let out anything that you're going through, to be able to get a grip on yourself, to take the steps into the next day, you know, to wake up into the next day. You know, I want everybody to be able to take another breath. I want everybody to reach their full potential. I want everybody to win their battles. It's out there. So, you know, I just wanted to shed a little light on this. Don't get stuck in the abyss. You know, don't get stuck in the abyss. You're not alone, bro. I promise you. What you feeling or what you have felt, I done felt. I survived. It's hard. Weeks, days, months. Even when I initiated this channel, I was coming out of a little bit of a mental health crisis. I was down. And it's apparent in the way that I look, you know? But I found a way out. So I'm just letting you know, I'm just shedding some light on it, bro, you know? Although we may not feel like we got the space, you know, it's up to us to create the space. Because at this point, obviously, you know, society ain't really coming out to save us. So we must save ourselves. We must create a space. We must make those friend groups. We must take initiative. It may be hard, but at the same time, you know, I feel like everything comes with a risk. And by that, I mean, in order for you to find the light at the end of the tunnel, is you must be willing to walk through darkness. You must be willing to walk through darkness, you know? You must be willing to. You can get out. You can crawl every day. What I say, one step at a time, right? That's all it takes. Take your time. Figure it out. Get through it. You know, you're not alone. You here. The resources here. Stay in the fight. I'm just spitballing. You know, it's a bit of a long video, but it's just something that's just very passionate. I may make another video about it, but I just wanted to get on there and speak about it today, man. There's been too many gone. I've lost too many. I've seen too many fall. I've seen too many go through it. You know, I've seen a lot of people go through it, especially, you know, young men figuring it out. We don't really have a lot, especially in my community, we don't really have a lot of father figures or older male figures to be able to talk about emotions or be able to talk about mental health or whatnot. You know, I'm trying to change the narrative. I've seen too many go. You know, I've seen too many deal with it. I walked past so many of my brothers in pain, and you know, they still hit you with a smile in the face. You know, they all right, yeah. Nah, but you see it, bro. I'm tired of seeing it, you know, especially with everything going on. It's too much division, too much pain, too much stress, you know. It's too much, just too much of the feeling of being on the outskirts, you know, when it comes to this specific topic. And, you know, a lot of times people end up feeling like they're alone. They don't got nobody that, once again, they make those crazy decisions. So I just hope that, you know, whoever this reaches, whoever this can, you know, uplift or maybe share this message with somebody, you know, share this message with somebody. Let them know they're not alone, bro. Help somebody out, you know. Be there for them. Maybe you can be that change. Maybe you can find some clarity in your own mental health and helping somebody. I know it sure helps me. That's why I turn this on. You know, talking to people, getting messages, letting people telling me that I'm helping them or changing their life and stuff like that. You know, just trying to be that person that, you know, sometimes I wish that I had inside of my corner. So I feel like, you know, right now I'm just doing my job. I'm just on my purpose. I'm just helping people. You know, I'm here to make this message. And like I said, I'm probably gonna make another video. I just feel so inclined to talk about it. We still got more time of this month left, and you know, our month ain't over, so maybe it's time for me to continue to shed some light on it. But I guess I'll go ahead and conclude this. But once again, I just wanna say, you know, man to man, I hope you succeed at everything. I hope you win your fights. You know, I hope you win that silent war inside the mental abyss in your head. I hope you find the strength, the perseverance, and I hope you have the resilience to bounce back from whatever it is that you're going through. And if you ever feel as if you cannot, understand that God can. And when you're feeling alone, know He is beside you. And know when to stick a hand out and call on Him. We all been knocked down, but it's about our ability to be able to get back up. Not everybody gets back up, sadly. So I don't want you to become one of them, but I don't know. That's all I got, man. Share this video with somebody. It could save somebody. Shed some light. You know, let's get some more love when it comes to this. It's been overshadowed by too much for far too long. With other things that I don't even feel are as important. But you know, it is what it is. So it's our job. You know, I'm doing my part. I need you to do your part. You know, keep in the fight. Share the video. By any means, no matter how you gotta do it, express, fight, walk, crawl. Find your way out. And know that you're not alone, man. One breath, one step, one day at a time. We're gonna make a change. We're gonna shed some light. It's gonna be all right. As always, love. Catch y'all in the next one. Stay up.